What is going on, guys? Welcome to the first official episode of Bag Sports. As I'm sure you guys can tell from the title, today's episode is going to be focused on the NFL 2020 draft. Now, before we get started, if you guys do enjoy the video, go ahead and drop a like, hit that little thumbs up there below the video, and if you want to see more content like this, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and when you do, ring that bell so you get notified when I post my future videos. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into the draft. First up on the clock, we have the Cincinnati Bengals, and by now I think everybody knows who this pick is going to be. They're going to pick their quarterback of the future, Joe Burrow, out of LSU. Not only is Joe Burrow the best player available in the draft, he also fills a position of need for the Cincinnati Bengals. Coming off his best game of the season against Oklahoma, where he threw for 7 touchdowns in one half, he only solidified himself as this year's first overall pick. Next on the clock, we have the Washington Redskins. With Joe Burrow off the board here, they have an easy selection ahead of them, and they will make the selection of Chase Young, the young defensive end out of Ohio State. Chase Young possesses the rare combination of size, athleticism, and speed, and will look to be a dominant force at the next level for years to come. At pick number 3, we have the Detroit Lions, who have a very big decision to make. After quarterback Matthew Stafford went down with a season-ending injury, it exposed many areas of need on the Lions roster. However, if they decide to pick here instead of moving back to acquire more picks, I believe they will select Jeffrey Okudah, the cornerback out of Ohio State. Jeffrey Okudah projects to be the number 1 shutdown corner at the next level, and his play should only be helped by lining up opposite of Darius Slay every Sunday. Coming at pick number 4, we have the New York Giants, making the selection of offensive tackle Andrew Thomas out of Georgia. To me, this is a very easy pick to make in the draft. Andrew Thomas is more than deserving of this kind of draft position, and the Giants need to focus on building their offense around making Daniel Jones as successful as possible. At pick number 5, I have the Miami Dolphins selecting wide receiver Jerry Jeudy out of Alabama. It is very clear that in order to win games, the Dolphins will need to improve on the offensive side of the football. Jerry Jeudy is a very high-profile offensive talent that looks to add a spark to that Miami Dolphins sputtering offense. At pick number 6, I have the Los Angeles Chargers moving on from longtime quarterback Philip Rivers and looking to add more youth at the position by drafting quarterback Justin Herbert out of the University of Oregon. Justin Herbert fits the prototypical model of an NFL quarterback with both size and strength and should impress scouts at the combine. Coming in at number 7, I have the Carolina Panthers looking to bolster the defense under new head coach Matt Rhule by selecting Isaiah Simmons, the linebacker out of Clemson. In all honesty, I am unsure the direction the Panthers will look to go in the draft this season. They may try to target a young quarterback in order to succeed Cam Newton. However, I feel that Matt Rhule will look to have one season with Cam Newton before making a decision like that. Next up, we have the Arizona Cardinals, who I believe will look to add talent to the offensive side of the football by selecting wide receiver CeeDee Lamb out of Oklahoma to pair with young rising star quarterback Kyler Murray. Seeing how Lamb and Murray were already teammates at the University of Oklahoma, this pick makes all the most sense in the world. At pick number 9, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars looking to add talent to their defensive line by drafting defensive end AJ Epineza out of the University of Iowa. Being an Iowa fan from Iowa, I had the privilege of watching many AJ Epineza games this season. He has more than lived up to all the hype that he had coming into the season, as his combination of size, speed, and strength looks to carry over very well to the next level. Following that pick at number 9, I have the Cleveland Browns selecting his teammate Tristan Wirfs, the offensive tackle out of Iowa. The Cleveland Browns were by far the biggest disappointment of the 2019 NFL season. One of the biggest reasons for their struggles this season came from their inability to protect their quarterback. Wirfs fills an immediate position of need for the Browns, adding extra protection for quarterback Baker Mayfield. Coming in at number 11, I have the New York Jets adding talent to their lackluster offense by selecting wide receiver T. Higgins out of the University of Clemson. Robbie Anderson's future with the New York Jets is currently unknown, and even with him on the roster, they should still be looking to add talent to that position group. At pick number 12, I have the now Las Vegas Raiders selecting Derek Brown, defensive lineman out of Auburn. After just missing the playoffs this season, the Raiders should look to continue from their success from last year's draft class by looking to draft another young defensive stud. Derek Brown is a potential game-changing force on the defensive side of the football. Despite talks of a possible new quarterback or maybe an offensive weapon coming at number 13 to the Colts, I have them selecting defensive end Yetur Gross-Matos out of Penn State. The Colts should be continuing to add pieces to the young defense that's already in place, and Yetur Gross-Matos would add a very key piece to that pass rush. At pick number 14, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting Christian Fulton, the cornerback out of LSU. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers suffered many losses, some at the hands of Jameis Winston, but many because their defense could not make a stop in crucial moments. Christian Fulton projects to be a day one starter at the next level and should immediately bolster the passing defense of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. At pick number 15, I have the Denver Broncos selecting Austin Jackson, the offensive tackle out of USC. Moving forward with Drew Lock as their quarterback of the future, the Broncos should look to give him as much protection as possible from day one. At pick number 16, I have the Atlanta Falcons selecting Trayvon Diggs, the cornerback out of Alabama. If they want to see a return to the postseason in the 2020 NFL season, the Falcons need to see big improvements on the defensive side of the football. At pick number 17, the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, will select Grant Delpit, free safety out of LSU. Although they underperformed and entirely missed the playoffs this season, the Cowboys have now put themselves into a prime position to draft a game-changing safety in the back end of their defense. At pick number 18, with their second pick of the draft, I have the Miami Dolphins selecting Tua Tagovailoa, the quarterback out of Alabama. At this point, it is clearly obvious neither Ryan Fitzpatrick nor Josh Rosen should be the quarterback to lead this team into the future. Clearly, Tua Tagovailoa possesses greater athletic ability than this draft spot would indicate. However, I believe his injury will scare teams throughout the entire pre-draft process, causing him to fall slightly throughout the first round. At pick number 19, with their second pick of the draft, I have the Las Vegas Raiders selecting Laviska Shenault, the wide receiver out of Colorado. After adding a young defensive piece in Derek Brown, the Raiders should look to the offensive side of the football. Shenault is a very talented wide receiver and should bolster the passing offense for the Las Vegas Raiders. At pick number 20, with their second pick of the draft, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars selecting Javon Kinlaw, defensive lineman out of South Carolina. Following a tough season on both sides of the football, I believe the Jaguars should look to slightly rebuild their defense by making their second selection of a defensive lineman opposite of AJ Epineza. With the 21st pick in the draft, I have the Philadelphia Eagles selecting Henry Ruggs III, wide receiver out of Alabama. As much as I don't like the Eagles, I believe selecting Henry Ruggs here will be a very good pick for them, as he will immediately bolster their wide receiver core for Carson Wentz. At pick number 21, I have the Buffalo Bills selecting Jonathan Taylor, the running back out of Wisconsin. At pick number 23, I have the New England Patriots finally selecting their successor to Tom Brady, with Jordan Love, the quarterback out of Utah State. Though he may not have had a great season from a statistical standpoint, Jordan Love shows many flashes of being a great NFL quarterback. He possesses the size and strength that will be necessary for him to improve at the next level. At pick number 24, I have the New Orleans Saints selecting Kenneth Murphy, the linebacker out of Oklahoma. While the Saints roster does not have any immediate holes on the offensive or defensive side, Kenneth Murphy is a good value pick at number 24. At pick number 25, I have the Tennessee Titans selecting Curtis Weaver, the defensive end out of Boise State. Boise State has been known in recent drafts to produce good NFL talent. Curtis Weaver projects to be the next player to join that elite group of players. At pick number 26, I have the Minnesota Vikings selecting Jedrick Wills, offensive tackle out of Alabama. Whether or not Kirk Cousins is retained after the 2020 NFL season remains to be seen. However, the Vikings should look to keep bolstering that offensive line. At pick number 27, I have the Miami Dolphins with their third pick of this draft, selecting Tyler Badage, the center out of Wisconsin. After selecting two offensive talents with their first two picks, the trend continues as they select Tyler Badage here. Badage should be able to provide stability at the center position for the Dolphins going forward, providing very good protection for quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. At pick number 28, I have the Seattle Seahawks selecting Raekwon Davis, the defensive lineman out of Alabama. It remains to be seen whether Jadeveon Clowney will be kept by the Seahawks following the end of this season. The Seahawks should look to bolster that defensive front by selecting Raekwon Davis with this pick. At pick number 29, I have the Kansas City Chiefs selecting C.J. Henderson, the cornerback out of Florida. Cornerback has been an obvious need for Kansas City this entire season, and C.J. Henderson fits the mold of a day one starter at the next level. Coming in at pick number 30, I have the Green Bay Packers selecting Solomon Kinley, the offensive guard out of Georgia. With Aaron Rodgers still under contract with the Packers for the next few seasons, Solomon Kinley should be able to provide adequate protection going forward. Coming in at pick number 31, I have the San Francisco 49ers selecting Anfernee Jennings, the linebacker out of Alabama. After a very impressive season by the young and talented San Francisco 49ers defense, Anfernee Jennings projects to be a very strong piece for them going forward. Lining up alongside players such as Nick Bosa and Richard Sherman, Anfernee Jennings projects to be a day one starter on a defense that no NFL offense will want to face next season. And lastly, at pick number 32, I have the Baltimore Ravens selecting Travis Etienne, the running back out of Clemson. Although Mark Ingram was indeed a Pro Bowler this season, I believe the Ravens will look to get ahead of the curve on the aging process by selecting Etienne with this pick. And with Mark Ingram still under contract for next year, the Ravens could look to use Etienne and Mark Ingram together in two-back sets. And with that pick is the conclusion of my 2020 NFL first round mock draft. Thank you guys for coming to watch the Bag Sports channel. All of your support is greatly appreciated. If you guys want to follow me on other platforms, I'll leave a link to my Twitter and my Instagram in the description, as well as displaying it right here on the page. And remember, if you guys want more content like this in the future, just go and hit that like button and hit that subscribe button as well. Until next time, Bag Sports out.